once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say greetings and welcome to my video. I jumped into this one pretty quickly. I wanted to do some Pokemon fusions, and I'd actually stumbled across this website from watching somebody else on Instagram. I've been seeing Sinnoh Art post a lot of pictures on Instagram of Pokemon fusions, and what they get is actually the sprite that's been fused, and then they create a creature from that instead of just using 100% of their imagination. The website that they were using is called Japeel, and they have a Pokemon fusion generator where they have an ability to do 2 Pokemon at random, and when you hit the fuse button, you usually get the face and color scheme of one of the Pokemon superimposed onto the body of the other Pokemon. And you can actually swap them too, and create a different fusion. If you want to, you also have the option to evolve, which is really fun. So here I've got a fusion of Prinplup and Musharna, making a really interesting shape. With the mist from its forehead, it can create shapes of things from dreams it has eaten. Apparently, every one of them believes it's the most important. Well, that seems appropriate. And it's goblin-sized. Awesome. It was a strange mixture. I went with a tapir for Musharna because that's kind of what it's always looked like to me, more than like an elephant. It's got the very short trunk. Standing up, it had a very chubby body. I know it was supposed to have kind of more of fins, but they are the Musharna feet. So I gave this Pokemon hooves. The style I'm drawing them in is a little more realistic, going for kind of how Sinnoh Art did theirs. Also, it's a little more fun realistic, because I wanted to put this really grotesque, grumpy, I mean, it's still obviously a psychic type of it. It's almost like a Pinkie Pie mashed with a drowsy kind of thing going on. Did lots of wrinkles and, you know, man boobs. To do the color, I actually I actually took the sprite itself and mapped out where the colors are in the sprite, and then kind of pushed and pulled and changed them a little bit to better fit the form of the actual Pokemon I'm drawing here. The colors were interesting, with the Musharna colors of just like a fleshy pink, and then a more magenta, and then a bluey purple. I can't think of the fancy name for that one. I took the Musharna Cloud Puff and turned it into a luxurious mane. I looked at baby tapirs and kind of used that for a bit of the inspiration for the white spots. I didn't quite like how the edges were appearing, so I put more spots all over it to give it kind of a dappled look. And all in all, I'm pretty proud of this creepy dude. Popped in some shading really quick. Squishy. I imagine is quite short and terrifying, and honestly it looks kind of like a ugly demonic Pinkie Pie. But yeah, here is my, what is it, Mushplup, I think is his name. Yeah, Mushplup, the psychic water Pokemon. Ugh. So the next one I got was Totogoat. Mixing a Totodile with a Gogoat. Despite its small body, Totogoat's jaws are very powerful. The leader of the herd is decided by a battle of clashing horns. Okay. It's not small in size. Oh man, that thing could chomp off your face. Again, I got the sprite and I kind of loosely traced it, looked up references, and then kind of went from there drawing over the trace I did and adding a little bit more of the realism and the animalistic. I was really trying to find the specific goat that Go-Goat was kind of based off of, but I really couldn't find something in particular. I did go with the baby alligator head, and I'm honestly really proud of the head I did on this. It's just cute and chubby. I played with a few different horns before I settled in, resized everything a bit, because the head was huge on the sprite, and inked it all in. I really tried to keep texture and not worry about doing things too perfectly smooth while I was doing these guys, just because I was going for a little bit more of a realism. I kind of did a cross between a paw and an alligator claw for the feet. I hate that back foot that's tilted. Fluffing out the basic goat body. This creature, I imagine, lives somewhere cold with that amount of floof, I would assume, but who really knows. I want to feed it snacks with that adorable face. I did forget to put glue back on the back of it. I could have done some kind of cool reptile bald spot, but things happen. The colors with Totodile kind of made it look very lion-y with the gold and the red once I went through and started coloring it. It's really interesting how this website kind of chooses the colors as like main color and where they put them, because Totodile isn't largely red and yellow, it's largely blue, but when they transferred it, they really did make the skin blue and everything else red and yellow. It must be coded a certain way where it's skin and details, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, coloring in this guy was fun. I messed with his colors a little bit, kind of muted them down a tad, moved them around, just to stick with a little bit more of the realism. I love the stubby little baby alligator face, the giant puffy mane, and the golden fluffy fur. I think it's adorable. So you got Totogoat, water grass type. This last one was a Poochyena and a Chimecho, so a Chimiena. Going to the Pokedex entry for this guy, so we've got height 0.55 meters, weight 7.3 kilograms. They fly about very actively when the hot season arrives. It chases after fleeing targets tenaciously. And then looking at the size, oh! I didn't realize it was so tiny. It's the size of a squirrel. I love it. It's so much better now. This one wins the cuteness award. Look at it. This one was a little odd because the Chimecho's face was so perfectly smooth. And trying to give it kind of a canine look, and the eyes were so far apart. I went over this a couple times. I actually had to do a skeleton underneath to kind of figure out how a skull and everything would look. So I did do kind of the far apart eyes. I did add some extra details to this one, just personally to make it make a little more sense. I added some bells to the collar. I had a collar with some bells and a bell to the tail. I don't know, it just kind of brought the Chimecho Chingling feeling into the kind of character design. It kind of comes off as less a wild animal and more as like a magical beast, which is nice. It's just kind of whimsical. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. Whimsical. I moved the tail so it wasn't just sticking straight out the bottom of a floating dog, because that was a bit odd. And swished it out, spotted out some of the markings and stuff, and took the yellow gold from the eyes and put that into the bells. All in all, this is probably one of my favorite designs just because it looks the least like the Pokemon. I mean, if you look at the colors, you can kind of guess there's some Chimecho in there, but it kind of makes more of its own entity, which I find really cute and nice and adorable, and I like him. Thank you guys for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed my fusions here. I have always had a special place in my heart for Pokemon, and in fact had a slight Pokemon theme to my wedding, which if there's any interest, I will tell you about that another time. Comment below which Pokemon fusion was your favorite, or maybe any other fusions you might want to see in the future. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Oh, and I'm posting this on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Bye guys.